Welcome to TT-Buddhism, your channel dedicated to exploring Buddhist teachings, wisdom, and mindfulness. Our mission is to help you understand Buddhism in a simple and practical way, making it relevant to modern life. If you're interested in learning about Buddhist philosophy, self-discovery, and inner peace, be sure to subscribe and join us on this journey. Have you ever wondered why Buddhism, one of the world's oldest religions, does not focus on a creator god? While many major religions such as Christianity, Islam, and Hinduism revolve around the worship of a divine being, Buddhism takes a completely different approach. Instead of devotion to a supreme god, Buddhism emphasizes wisdom, self-awareness, and the path to enlightenment. But why did the Buddha avoid discussions about God? How do Buddhists explain the creation of the universe, morality, and the meaning of life without a divine authority? In this video, we will explore why Buddhism does not rely on the concept of a creator god. We will dive into the life of Siddhartha Gautama, the man who became the Buddha, and understand his teachings on suffering, karma, and enlightenment. We will also discuss how morality, ethics, and purpose in life can exist without divine commandments. Finally, we will look at what Buddhism teaches about the nature of the universe and the cycle of rebirth. Stay with us until the end, and let us know in the comments, do you think a religion can exist without a god? If you enjoy learning about Buddhism and want to explore more insightful content, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to TT-Buddhism, and hit the bell icon to stay updated. Now, let's begin. The origins of Buddhism, the story of the Buddha. To understand why Buddhism does not focus on a creator god, we must first look at the life of Siddhartha Gautama, the man who became the Buddha. Born into a royal family in present-day Nepal, around 563 BCE, Siddhartha was raised in luxury and shielded from suffering by his father, the king. The king hoped that by keeping his son away from the harsh realities of life, he would grow up to become a powerful ruler rather than a spiritual seeker. However, everything changed when Siddhartha encountered 4 significant sights that opened his eyes to the truth of human existence. On his first journey outside the palace, he saw an old man, realizing that aging is inevitable for all. On another occasion, he saw a sick man, understanding that suffering exists in every life. Then, he saw a dead body, which revealed to him the inescapable nature of death. Finally, he encountered a wandering monk, a renunciant who had left worldly life in search of wisdom and liberation. This last sight deeply inspired Siddhartha. He began to question the meaning of life. Why do people suffer? And is there a way to escape suffering? Determined to seek answers, Siddhartha made a radical decision. He left behind his royal life, wealth, and family to embark on a spiritual quest. For years he practiced extreme asceticism, believing that denying the body would lead to enlightenment. However, after nearly starving himself, he realized that neither indulgence nor self-denial was the answer. Instead, he discovered the middle way, a balanced path of wisdom and mindfulness. After years of deep meditation under the Bodhi tree, Siddhartha finally attained enlightenment. He realized the 4 noble truths, the foundation of Buddhist philosophy, which explains that suffering is caused by desire and attachment, but it can be overcome by following the Eightfold Path. From that moment, he became known as the Buddha, meaning the enlightened one. Unlike many religious figures, the Buddha did not claim to be a god or a prophet of a divine being. Instead, he presented a practical path to liberation, emphasizing self-awareness, wisdom, and personal responsibility. His teachings focused on understanding suffering and achieving inner peace, rather than worshiping a supreme deity. Did the Buddha believe in God? One of the most distinctive aspects of Buddhism is its approach to the concept of God. Unlike many religious traditions that center around a supreme creator, the Buddha neither confirmed nor denied the existence of God. Instead of engaging in theological debates, he focused on practical wisdom, teaching people how to overcome suffering and attain enlightenment. His silence on the subject of God was intentional, as he believed that such discussions were not useful in achieving liberation. To illustrate this perspective, the Buddha told the parable of the poisoned arrow. Imagine a man is shot by a poisoned arrow. Instead of seeking immediate treatment, he insists on asking unnecessary questions. Who shot the arrow? What kind of wood is it made from? What type of feathers were used? Meanwhile, the poison spreads through his body, putting his life in danger. The Buddha explained that worrying about the origins of the universe or the existence of a divine being is like the man wasting time on irrelevant details instead of addressing the real issue, his suffering. The key concern, according to the Buddha, is not who created the world, but how one can free oneself from suffering. Rather than believing in an all-powerful creator, Buddhism teaches that everything arises through dependent origination, a natural process of cause and effect. Every phenomenon exists due to previous conditions, and nothing is created or controlled by an external divine force. This means that suffering is not a punishment from a god, but a result of one's own thoughts, actions, and attachments. The Buddha also rejected the idea of a god who governs morality or grants salvation. Instead, he taught that each individual is responsible for their own actions and their consequences. Buddhism does not rely on divine commandments, but emphasizes self-discipline, wisdom, and compassion as the foundation for a meaningful life. The focus is not on pleasing a deity, but on cultivating inner peace and understanding. Thus, the Buddha's teachings shift the focus from external worship to personal transformation. He encouraged people to seek truth within themselves, not through devotion to a god, but through direct experience, mindfulness, and self-awareness. The Buddhist view on creation and the universe. If there is no creator God, then where did the universe come from? Unlike many religious traditions that teach the universe was created by a divine being, Buddhism offers a completely different perspective. The Buddha did not focus on explaining the origins of the universe, but instead emphasized the law of dependent origination, the idea that everything arises due to causes and conditions. According to this teaching, the universe was not created at a single point in time, nor does it have a final end. Instead, it operates in endless cycles of birth, existence, and destruction. Buddhism suggests that reality is governed by natural laws rather than the will of a god. The universe functions based on karma, cause and effect, impermanence, and interdependence. Everything exists because of previous causes, and everything that exists will eventually change and pass away. Just as a seed grows into a tree only when the right conditions are met, the universe and all beings within it exist due to interconnected causes. There is no need for a divine creator to explain its existence. Another fundamental Buddhist concept is samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Instead of a heaven or hell where souls are sent permanently, Buddhism teaches that beings are reborn based on their past actions. This means that life does not begin with creation by a god, nor does it end in eternal salvation or damnation. Instead, individuals continuously go through cycles of existence until they attain nirvana, a state of ultimate liberation from suffering. Furthermore, Buddhism does not view the universe as being created for human beings. Unlike some religious beliefs that see humans as the central purpose of creation, Buddhism teaches that all beings, humans, animals, and even celestial beings, are part of the same cycle of existence. By understanding the nature of reality through wisdom and mindfulness, rather than relying on the idea of a divine creator, Buddhists focus on personal transformation and breaking free from suffering. The goal is not to find answers about the universe's creation, but to cultivate inner peace and enlightenment. Morality without God, the Buddhist approach to ethics. Many religious traditions teach that morality comes from divine commandments, with right and wrong determined by the will of God. In contrast, Buddhism does not rely on an external authority to define ethical behavior. Instead, it emphasizes wisdom and compassion as the foundation of morality. According to the Buddha, ethical conduct is not about obeying divine laws, but about understanding the consequences of one's actions and cultivating a way of life that leads to inner peace and harmony with others. Buddhists follow the 5 precepts, which serve as ethical guidelines rather than absolute commandments. These precepts are based on personal responsibility and self-discipline. No killing, respect, and protect all forms of life. No stealing, be honest, and act with integrity. No lying, speak truthfully and kindly. No sexual misconduct. Maintain respect and responsibility in relationships. No intoxicants. Avoid substances that cloud judgment and awareness. Unlike religious laws that are enforced by divine judgment, Buddhist morality operates through karma, the natural law of cause and effect. Every action, whether good or bad, generates consequences that shape a person's present and future experiences. Acts of kindness and generosity lead to positive outcomes, while harmful actions result in suffering. This understanding encourages people to take responsibility for their choices, rather than fear divine punishment or seek divine rewards. In Buddhist stories, there are celestial beings called devas, who live in higher realms due to their past good karma. However, unlike the gods in other religions, these devas are not eternal, omnipotent, or creators of the universe. They too are subject to karma and will eventually be reborn just like humans. This reinforces the idea that morality is not dictated by divine beings but arises from the nature of reality itself. Ultimately, Buddhist ethics encourage individuals to develop self-awareness, kindness, and wisdom, not out of obedience to a higher power, but as a way to create a more peaceful and meaningful life. By practicing ethical behavior, one cultivates inner harmony, strengthens positive relationships, and moves closer to liberation from suffering. The purpose of life in Buddhism. In many religious traditions, the purpose of life is to serve God, fulfill divine will, or attain a place in heaven. However, Buddhism offers a different perspective, one that is not centered around devotion to a deity, but instead on understanding suffering and achieving liberation. The Buddha taught that life is marked by dukkha, suffering, which arises from desire, attachment, and ignorance. Instead of seeking salvation through divine intervention, Buddhism emphasizes self-awareness, inner transformation, and the path to enlightenment. The solution to suffering lies in following the Four Noble Truths, the core of Buddhist teachings. First, suffering is an undeniable part of life. Second, suffering arises from craving and attachment. Third, it is possible to end suffering by letting go of desires. Fourth, the way to achieve this liberation is through the Eightfold Path, a practical guide to ethical living, mental discipline, and wisdom. The Eightfold Path consists of 8 principles that help individuals cultivate a meaningful life. Right view. Understanding the nature of reality and suffering. Right intention. Developing thoughts of kindness and wisdom. Right speech, speaking truthfully and compassionately. Right action, living ethically and avoiding harm to others. Right livelihood, choosing a profession that supports well-being. Right effort, cultivating positive mental states. Right mindfulness, being aware of one's thoughts, emotions, and actions. Right concentration, practicing meditation to develop inner peace and clarity. Instead of seeking an external source of meaning, Buddhism encourages individuals to take responsibility for their own lives. The purpose is not to worship a god, but to cultivate wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness, ultimately leading to Nirvana, a state of complete freedom from suffering. In this way, Buddhism shifts the focus from divine worship to self-realization, teaching that true peace and happiness are found within, rather than through external forces. Buddhism offers a unique perspective on life, one that does not rely on a creator god, but instead focuses on wisdom, self-awareness, and liberation from suffering. The Buddha did not discuss the existence of a supreme deity because he believed that such debates would not help people achieve peace and happiness. Instead, he emphasized understanding the nature of suffering, practicing mindfulness, and cultivating compassion and wisdom. The universe, according to Buddhism, is governed by natural laws, not divine intervention. Everything arises and ceases due to cause and effect, karma, and dependent origination, rather than being created by a higher power. Morality, too, does not come from divine commandments, but from personal responsibility, ethical living, and the understanding that our actions shape our experiences. Rather than living to serve a god, Buddhists seek to free themselves from suffering through self-transformation, mindfulness, and the Eightfold Path. At its core, Buddhism teaches that happiness and peace are found within, not through external worship or reliance on divine forces. The goal is to achieve Nirvana, a state of ultimate freedom from suffering, by developing wisdom, compassion, and self-discipline. Whether one believes in God or not, the Buddhist path provides practical guidance for leading a meaningful and peaceful life. Now we turn the question to you. Do you think a religion can exist without a God? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video insightful, please like, subscribe to TT-Buddhism, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future content. Thank you for watching, and we appreciate your support on this journey of wisdom and mindfulness. See you in the next video.